When someone in your family asks you to make something, how do they ask you? I know that's a stupid question to be asking at the beginning of the video, but hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. So when my husband is requesting something from me, it's not, I want to go do, would you like to go with me? I have a taste for something and do you mind making that for me? Or I'm going to go in the kitchen and make this. Would you like some? No, he does not. He starts off by, don't you want to go here? Don't you have a taste for something, whatever he wants? So he asked me last night, don't you want to make a chocolate cake? When all he had to say was, I would like to have a chocolate cake. If you have time, can you make it for me? Well, we have all of our things that we need right back there, except for a few things that are still in the refrigerator. So we're going to be making a chocolate cake with a stabilized whipped cream filling in between the layers, plus a ganache chocolate frosting. If that is something you're interested in, stick around. It's going to be a delicious chocolate, beautiful day. So in the description below, I will have all the links to the recipes that I am following, plus a little tweaking we're going to do to one of these recipes. So we have the chocolate cake, the stabilized whipped cream, and the ganache. I went ahead and took a pint of our heavy cream out of the freezer. I had it sitting on the counter for a couple hours. Now I have it in the refrigerator. We're not ready for that, but it'll be ready for us when we are. So let's go ahead and get all of our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients and get this cake in the oven. But first, we need to start preheating the oven for 350 degrees, and we need to prepare our cake pans. So I have 3 cake pans. I got this from a mystery box that a lady at Goodwill was getting ready to donate, and she had a cast iron skillet sitting on top of a box, and I asked her for the cast iron skillet. I explained all that in a video. If I can find that video, I'll put a link right there and also in the description below on how I acquired a lot of cake pans. But I like to put parchment paper in the bottom of my cake pans. Just makes removing it from the pan a lot easier. So I'm folding the parchment paper in half, in quarters, eighths, and sixteenths, keeping it at a point. I'm going to guesstimate where the center is and then cut it right there. Perfect. Let me do the other 2 cake pans. We still need to oil and flour our cake pans. So I have some coconut oil, a paper towel, and some flour. Just shake that around. Want to make sure we get the edges also. Oven is up to temperature. You know we gotta make a mess in the kitchen, family. Put our parchment rounds in the bottom of each pan. Now our pans are ready for us. So we need 2 cups of sugar, 1 3/4 cups of flour, 3/4 cups of cocoa powder, 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So that's our dry ingredients. We're just going to whisk that together. So in the small bowl, we're going to put in 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla, whisk that together. Her recipe says 1 cup of boiling water. I am doing a 1/2 cup of water and a 1/2 cup of coffee. I'm going to put this in the microwave and get it really hot. I'm not going to worry about making it boiling, but I do want it hot. The dry ingredients, the wet ingredients, a 1/2 cup of coconut oil, and a 1/2 cup of water, and a 1/2 cup of coffee. Her recipe says to add the oil to the wet ingredients, but because I am using a coconut oil, it will solidify in that cold mixture. So we're going to add the cold mixture to the dry ingredients, and then we'll add the oil. But if you were using regular vegetable oil, you can do that now because it will not solidify. I'm just using a hand mixer and mix this together. I'm going to scrape the edge of the bowl. And slowly pour in our hot and coffee water mixture. It is a very loose batter, but that is what we want. Just want to make sure everything is well incorporated in here. Perfect. And the other thing we're going to tweak on this recipe is I'm going to be adding chocolate chips to the pans once we get the mixture in there. So 1 cup of chocolate chips. Now to make sure I'm getting even amount in each one of these pans, I'm going to be starting off with a 1 cup measure. And putting 1 cup in each one of these pans until we run out of batter. So far I have 2 cups in each one of these pans. And I have just a little bit left. So I'm just going to divide that, try to get as even as possible. Now I have my chocolate chips. I'm going to put about 1/3 in each one. Sprinkle them around the whole cake. So there's chocolate chips in each of these cakes. And for a 3-layer cake, it says it's going to take between 30 and 35 minutes. So in the oven they're going to go. Now because it's not a big oven, I'm going to have to put them in a triangle type, but halfway through so that it's going to be about 17 minutes. We'll say 15 minutes because we're going to go by the 31st. In 15 minutes, I'm going to go and rotate them completely around so that they're cooking evenly. So the one in the back, it's not staying in the back the whole entire time. Set the timer for 15 minutes. Perfect amount of time to get some dishes done. After 15 minutes, we're going to rotate those. See if they're done after the second 15 minutes, and we'll adjust the time accordingly. 15 minutes is up. Now I need to try to rotate them without disturbing the cake batter too much. It is hot in here, family. Okay, another 15 minutes. So the reason we rotate it is because the oven doesn't heat up evenly. So the back could be either hot or cold. The front could be either hot or cold. And we don't know the oven temperature, basically. So we rotate them so that they get moved around and they'll cook evenly. See you in another 14 minutes. Second 15 minutes is up. I have a toothpick. We're going to go in the center. Nope, not ready. Just going to do one. Let's go ahead and extend it for the last 5 minutes. So I have a wire rack right here on the island. We are done. Did have to extend the time for an additional 5 minutes. So it took the 15-minute rotation, 15 minutes, wasn't done, 5 minutes, wasn't done, 5 minutes. So it's a total of 40 minutes. But they are done. Oven off. We're going to let them sit right here until they cool off completely. Then we'll remove them from the pan. Then we can start on the ganache, because the ganache has to sit for about 5 minutes before we apply it to our cooled cake. And then we can make the stabilized whipped cream for the filling in between the layers. So give me about 2 to 3 hours and we'll get that done. So the cakes have been sitting here for about 45 minutes. I do want to remove them from the pan so they can cool off. So I have a flat spatula, just going to go around the edge. Oh goodness, not coming out very easy. Let me get a knife. Yeah, much better. Might have left them in here just a little bit too long. Let's hope it comes out. All right, that's one. This one is kind of lopsided. I think it was in the oven like that, but that's okay. Two. Probably shouldn't be using a knife in these pans, but I've got to be able to get these cakes out. All right, that's the third. I'm going to leave them right here to cool completely. That's going to take about an hour. Then we'll go ahead and get started on the other ingredients. In the meantime, I get to wash those cake pans and get those put away. The cake has been sitting here for about an hour. They are cool. We're going to go ahead and make the ganache first. So I have a cup of heavy cream. And if you've been around, we get a gallon of raw milk every week. I separate the cream from the raw milk. I put them in pint-sized jars and keep them in the freezer. Took this out of the freezer this morning, had it sitting on the counter for a couple hours, and then I stuck it in the refrigerator to keep it cold. Now we want to heat up this heavy cream. But we don't want to boil it, we just want it to be warm. Just when it starts simmering around the edges. And in this soup bowl, I have 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And that's all we need for ganache. Once we get the ganache made, we're going to go ahead and start on that stabilized piping frosting whipped cream. We do not want the heavy cream to come to a boil. If the heavy cream boils and it goes into chocolate chips, it'll separate the fats from the chocolate chips and it'll make it too greasy. So we just want to start seeing a little bit of simmering right around the edges. I do have it on a medium low. And we do not want to walk away from this. I'm starting to see a little bit of activity going around the edge. I'm going to turn the burner off. And I'm going to add it to the chocolate chips. Give it a little stir. I'm going to cover the bowl and leave it there for 5 minutes. Let's stir that heavy cream with those chocolate chips. And just try to get everything mixed together. And that is exactly what we're looking for right there. We got everything mixed in. All those chocolate chips have melted. Beautiful. So this needs to sit for about 15 minutes before we ice in the cake. That's why we made that first. The recipe for the stabilized whipped cream frosting calls for 1.5 cups of heavy cream. I put my heavy cream in the freezer in pints, so that's 2 cups. And since the ganache took 1 cup, I only have a cup left. So I adjusted the recipe for 1 cup of heavy cream, and we just hope and pray it's enough to ice in between these 3 cakes. So it called for a teaspoon of unflavored gelatin, but since we're breaking this down just a little bit, I'm using 2/3 of a teaspoon, which I'm just going to say 1/4 of a teaspoon. So this is some unflavored beef gelatin. We use this to make marshmallows also. So I am going to put 3/4 of a teaspoon. It is teaspoon, right? Yes. Right into this measuring cup. And it calls for 1.5 tablespoons of cold water. I am using 1 tablespoon. We just want to mix that together. And this needs to bloom for about 5 minutes. I've had the bowl and the beaters in the refrigerator so it can be nice and cold. Now we can start on that frosting. So we're going to put in 1 cup of heavy cream. Still a little frozen spot right there, but that is okay. Means it's going to be super cold. We need a teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and we're just going to whip this until it's almost soft peaks, but not all the way. It says use an electric mixer to beat until mixture is thickened, but stop shy of reaching the soft peaks. Because it's such a small amount, I'm actually moving the bowl instead of moving the hand mixer. We're just shy of soft peak, so we're going to stop. And the gelatin has bloomed, but it says we need to heat this up in the microwave for about 5 to 10 seconds. So we need to keep an eye on this. That actually took 6 minutes, and we want to turn it back into a liquid form. And now we're supposed to drizzle this in here as we are beating it with the mixer. I'm just going to whisk it by hand because it doesn't, I think I missed a step. No, I did not. Because that is not very stable. Let me go back to the mixer. Family, I don't know, I think I beated it too far because now it's very watery. Okay, we're not even going to use that. I need to work on that recipe. We have the ganache. It's okay. Let's get one of our cake layers. Remove that parchment paper. Put it right here in the center. And I just want to put a layer of ganache right here on this layer. Put another cake layer on top of that. Some more ganache on this layer. And third layer of cake. And now we're just going to pour the ganache right on this and just let it drip down the sides. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's going to taste delicious. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator so that ganache can just get a little bit firm. The husband ran some errands, and when he comes back, we'll get him to try a piece. So let me clean up my chocolate mess. Put everything back in the pantry that goes into the pantry. Wash dishes. And I still need to figure out what we're going to have for dinner. So the husband came home from running his errands. We already ate dinner. I'm going to go ahead and cut into the cake and we're going to taste it. You coming in here? So I have the husband coming in. He doesn't want to be on camera, so he's just going to stand right there.
Good.
Say that again.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I did make, well, I was trying to make some stabilized whipped cream to put in between the layers, but I over mixed it so it fell and it started separating. So I need to work on that. Just to have something different in the middle of the layers, but it didn't work out. But this actually turned out really good.
Mm-hmm. So the bottom's kind of crispy, kind of like a brownie. I like that.
So is husband approved?
Yeah.
So thank you for hanging out with me today while we did another Sweet Thursday. We made a chocolate cake with a chocolate ganache. We did tweak the recipe just a bit. We added coffee and water instead of just water to the cake batter. Plus we put some chocolate chips in that cake batter before we cooked it. Still need to work on that stabilized whipped cream to see if we figure out what we did wrong. But this is actually really good. So if you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Can't wait to bring you back into the kitchen and we'll make something delicious. The next video is going to be a week of meals. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you'll know every time we have a video uploaded. I'll see you on Saturday. Oh, I can't open my vanilla. Oh, there we go.